The Dart Zone Pro Mark IV is the only blaster bigger than my
Oh no, baby, what is you doing?
Yo.
So big.
Dude, put that thing
My
away.
guy, what's up? Sorry.
You need to leave. It's disgusting. What are you doing, step bro? It's so big.
Maybe I should put this thing away. Okay, look, I know what you're thinking, but it's true. I measured it. The Mark IV is the only blaster that's actually bigger than my depression diagnoses. Anyway, this is the Dart Zone Pro Series Mark IV blaster, and it's big. Like, no, it's really big.
That's what she said.
It's so big, it's longer than my piano. Well, almost. But look, the Mark IV is the latest Pro Series blaster from Dart Zone in a long line of often confusingly named blasters. First was the Mark I and the Mark 1.1, then the Mark 1.2, then the Mark II and the 2.1, which were both oddly pistols. Then the Mark III, which was like a select fire flywheel SMG, and now the Mark IV, which is a ginormous pump action snipper rifle. It's also a direct clone of the old Worker Swift. But we don't talk about that. Rip-off! The Dart Zone Pro Mark IV is another high-powered pump-action Springer, but they really took that go big or go home mantra to heart, because this has got to be the biggest blaster I own, by far.
That's a huge bitch!
At almost 4 feet long, this blaster earns its sniper rifle designation, and with full metal internals and a long-ass barrel, it certainly is capable of withstanding the mods necessary to surpass 300 feet per second. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. If you thought the Worker Swift looked cool but never got one because you thought it should be much bigger, then you might want to check this one out. Plus, the Swift had that uncomfortable little pistol grip and the sharp-ass thumbhole stock, and the Dart Zone Mark IV has that sexy rubberized grip. And most importantly, the Mark IV is the biggest blaster I've ever seen. And that's gotta count for something, right? I mean, right? Right? In the box, you'll find the blaster itself, extended FPS barrel attachment, scar barrel muzzle device, front and rear ABS sights, 2 15-dart half-length magazines, 30 bamboo V2 darts, safety goggles, and an extra spring. And damn, Dart Zone really knows how to pack a blaster. They really know how to make a pro blaster feel really premium. They make me not want to throw the box away and whole bullshit. Going over the blaster, starting from the front, if I can reach it, there's no in-strike barrel lug, but there is a Dart Zone barrel lug. This is where you connect the extended FPS barrel attachment. And that's what makes this blaster really long. On the bottom of the blaster is this huge angled pump grip. Above that, there's a sling mount, full-length Picatinny rail with another sling mount right behind it. Underneath this, we find the magwell, which is short dart only, so it's not compatible with standard size Nerf magazines. But it is compatible with just about every short dart mag that I tested, including Worker Talon mags, X-Shot Pro mags, and even the new Strife X mag. But only with the included mags can you do this. The mags included with the Dart Zone Pro Mark IV actually have loose lips, so it makes it feel like and operate like a blaster with a skinny pusher. But if you look up the magwell, it has a standard size pusher up there. Behind the magwell is the mag release lever, which is a nice size. And it's fairly close to the pistol grip, meaning anyone that's big enough to operate this blaster will be able to hit the mag release with their firing hand. It's also on the center line of the blaster, so a right or left-handed person can strike it with ease. Full ambi, bro. Ever since the last video, I feel like saying that every time now. Does anyone mind if I steal a few Koopisms here and there? Let me know. But the mag release can also be easily accessed with your offhand thumb. Directly above the mag release is the trigger guard, and on top of that is the safety switch. There's an S on one side and an F on the other, so it shouldn't be too hard to figure out. The trigger here is comfortable, but the trigger pull is a bit heavy. It's not like butter, baby. The grip here is excellent. It's big and super comfortable, and instead of a rubber sleeve like the older Dart Zone Pro blasters have, this grip is actually rubberized, so no slippage can occur. Above that, you can see the actual side of the plunger tube, just like on the X-Shot Pro Long Shot, but the Mark IV comes with the metal plunger tube out of the box, so there'll be no need to replace it if you don't want to. Behind that is the shoulder stock. It's not adjustable, but it can be detached if you remove these 2 black screws, one on each side of the blaster. This is how you can easily swap the spring out for a stronger or weaker spring if you want to tone this baby down a little bit. The way the stock attaches is with a standard N-Strike stock adapter, but it's not compatible with any N-Strike stocks that I've tested so far. And this is because the spring and the spring retainer actually reside in the Mark IV stock. You can see the spring through the little window on the side of the stock here. This also serves as the priming indicator, since you can only see the yellow part of the spring when the blaster is primed back. For some reason, this blaster just comes across as really top heavy in the front, with the huge angled pump grip up here and the small looking stock on the back. It's like a girl with really big boobs and no ass at all. It just sort of looks weird. They should have made the stock a little beefier because this blaster looks kind of unbalanced. One last thing. At the back of the stock is a nice rubber butt pad. Rubber butt. It's here to minimize recoil, and it can also be taken off to reveal a nice little hiding spot for the included scar barrel muzzle device. Or whatever else you want to keep in there. I'm not your dad. But I can be a Nerf daddy if you just hit that little subscribe button down there. Go ahead. Don't be shy. I won't look. You done? Good. Let's shoot this thing. That was fun. Firing the Mark IV is actually pretty fun, but its size is really felt after shooting this thing for a while. It's big and it's long, and even for me, it gets to be a little strenuous after putting a few hundred rounds through it. Luckily, it does have a fairly easy prime though. So my kids can prime this thing, and that says something because if you remember the Unicorn Blaster review, my daughter had a lot of trouble priming that thing. She has trouble with this one too, but it's not because of the weight of the prime. It's because this blaster is nearly as big as she is. I didn't experience any jams or malfunctions, but I'm literally afraid to get in the jam because there's no jam door anywhere to be found on this thing. Yeah, there's not even a quick takedown mech, so you'll be shoving a ramrod down its neck if you ever encounter any jams. Every malfunction will potentially be a catastrophic one. But as it is now, the Mark IV performed pretty reliably, and as you can see, the blaster hits pretty hard. I put it over my chronograph and I saw an average muzzle velocity of 187.5 feet per second. With the scar barrel muzzle attachments, the average muzzle velocity was 192.5 feet per second, which surprisingly saw a slight increase in velocity, but that's probably because of the extra bit of barrel length you get with the scar barrel. Finally, when I put on the FPS barrel attachment, the average muzzle velocity increased to 213.9 feet per second. This is all with the spring that comes installed with the blaster. For a heavy sniper type blaster like this, I won't bother testing the weaker spring. The whole point of this blaster to me is unlimited power. And I think the Mark IV is definitely capable of that with some simple mods. But as it stands now, the 213.9 feet per second is not much higher than a stock worker Harrier. If you remember from my Harrier video, I got an average of 195 feet per second, which is actually a bit higher than this blaster is without the FPS barrel. And without the extended barrel, the Harrier is a smidge shorter than the Mark IV and a lot thinner and way more sleek with a shorter stroke on the prime. The Mark IV has a pretty long stroke. So to me, the only acceptable way to run the Mark IV is with the FPS barrel, an even stronger spring than either of the ones that are included, and find some way to put a scar barrel muzzle device onto the FPS barrel, which for some reason can't be done out of the box, which is crazy. If you were looking for something that has similar power, but it's a bit sleeker and much more maneuverable, check out my review of the Worker Harrier here. Like the video if you think they should make a Mark 1.3, which is something more like a Mark 1.1 or 1.2. Subscribe if you want to see me make this thing as powerful as it can go. Otherwise, that's it for this video. Until next time, fuck off.